Amid the grandeur of Buckingham Palace, a state banquet was on the verge of turning into a diplomatic storm until Catherine, with a single graceful gesture, changed everything. The king's anger transformed into admiration, and the entire hall fell silent, witnessing a moment regarded as the pinnacle of royal elegance. What really happened that night, and how could one small act make the whole world bow in awe before the Princess of England? Join us as we uncover the secret behind the gesture that changed the atmosphere of the palace in just a few seconds. What do you think about Princess Catherine's graceful gesture at that dinner? Was it the natural instinct of an elegant woman, or the clever calculation of a born diplomat? If you believe it was pure natural grace, leave the number 1 in the comments. But if you think it was a brilliant diplomatic move, comment 0 below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to keep following more surprising and emotional royal stories. Princess Catherine, with her confidence and grace, always stands at the center of attention during royal events. As a modern member of the monarchy, she and Prince William have continuously worked to present a warm, approachable image while upholding the long-standing traditions of the United Kingdom. Tonight at Buckingham Palace, a special banquet is being held to welcome a distinguished guest, marking a moment of great diplomatic significance. The grand hall of the palace glows beneath the sparkle of crystal chandeliers, with long tables elegantly adorned with pristine white linens, gleaming silverware, and vibrant bouquets of fresh flowers. Every detail of the evening has been meticulously prepared, reflecting the British royal family's deep respect for world leaders. Tonight's atmosphere is not only one of grandeur and elegance, but also carries a profound message of friendship between nations. The guest of honor at this royal banquet is His Majesty Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar. At 45, he is a leader of remarkable strength and composure, known for his calm yet decisive demeanor. Under his leadership, Qatar has emerged as a key global partner, particularly in the fields of energy and trade. Recently, he delivered an impressive speech at the United Nations, emphasizing Qatar's vital role in promoting peace and international cooperation. His presence in London was not merely a diplomatic visit, but an opportunity to strengthen the ties between the United Kingdom and Qatar. For King Charles, the dinner held far deeper meaning than just a social occasion. The two nations have long maintained close cooperation, particularly in the fields of economy and investment. Qatar owns many significant assets in London, from renowned shopping centers to iconic buildings. Creating a friendly and respectful atmosphere at the dinner was not only a matter of etiquette, but also a way to reinforce mutual trust between the two countries. When Princess Catherine entered the Grand Hall, the atmosphere seemed to change entirely. She wore an elegant ivory gown paired with a diamond tiara that once belonged to the late Queen, radiating grace and sophistication. After her long journey of overcoming illness, her return to royal events carried a special significance, inspiring many with her resilience and sense of duty. With a warm smile and gentle gestures, Princess Catherine embodied not only the role of a royal figure, but also that of a diplomatic bridge, bringing warmth and harmony to this important evening. For years, Princess Catherine has been cherished as a symbol of strength and hope. Despite personal challenges, she continues to carry herself with calm dignity and deep compassion. Always ready to connect with others through sincerity, she continued to showcase her unique ability to foster harmony, even in the most delicate moments at the Buckingham Palace banquet. The evening began in a formal yet friendly atmosphere. The gentle clinking of glasses blended with the soft melodies of the orchestra playing in the grand hall. Guests, from high-ranking officials to diplomats, engaged in polite conversation, creating a warm and welcoming ambiance. However, as everyone took their seats at the dinner table, a subtle shift in the air began to emerge. The Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, had been seated a few places away from King Charles, next to several British ministers and officials. In diplomatic events, details like seating arrangements carry great significance, reflecting respect and the importance placed on relationships. The Emir, with his usual calm demeanor, seemed more pensive than usual. His aides exchanged quiet whispers, their eyes revealing clear concern. Such a small moment could influence the atmosphere of the entire evening. From the other side of the table, Princess Catherine quietly observed. With her natural sensitivity, she noticed the shift in the honored guest's mood. During her school visits, she had often recognized shy children who needed encouragement. On hospital visits, she was always attuned to the worried looks of families. Tonight, she recognized that the Emir needed a friendly gesture to feel welcomed. Rather than acting hastily, Catherine patiently waited for the right moment. As the first toast was raised and everyone lifted their glasses, she quietly turned to the Emir, her eyes sincere, wearing a warm and respectful smile. She gently raised her glass toward him, a small but meaningful gesture that conveyed appreciation and genuine care. The Emir paused for a moment, looking at Princess Catherine. He gave a slight nod, returning her gesture with a soft smile and raising his glass in response. The atmosphere around him seemed to shift. The lines on his face relaxed, and his aides grew noticeably more at ease. Catherine's simple gesture had broken the tension, creating a genuine connection among the guests. Throughout the evening, Princess Catherine continued to engage the Emir in conversation whenever the opportunity arose. Instead of discussing political or business matters, she chose more personal topics such as family and shared values. She inquired sincerely about the Emir's children, demonstrating that she had taken the time to learn about Qatar's culture and people. Gradually, the Emir opened up, sharing proud moments about his children, something rarely seen from a leader in a public setting. His smiles became more frequent, and the atmosphere at the dinner table grew warm and comfortable. The British officials quietly breathed a sigh of relief, recognizing that Catherine's subtlety had helped the evening run smoothly and strengthened an important diplomatic relationship. The banquet at Buckingham Palace was not just a diplomatic event, but a testament to the power of tact and sincerity. Through small yet meaningful gestures, Princess Catherine helped create a friendly atmosphere, contributing to the reinforcement of the friendship between the United Kingdom and Qatar. It was a lesson in how care and respect can overcome barriers and bring people closer together. Though she held no official role or scripted agenda, Catherine quickly eased the tension with her small, warm, and genuine actions. As the dessert was served, Emir began leaning toward the senior minister seated beside him, engaging in animated conversation. The tense expression he had worn earlier had softened, replaced by a look of joy and enthusiasm. Compliments about the banquet gradually flowed openly from his side of the table, and even his aides started to show signs of satisfaction. Everyone recognized that it was Princess Catherine's kind-hearted gesture that had turned the atmosphere around. But what truly captured the entire room's attention was her next move, one that went far beyond expectations and was so subtle that every eye fell upon her in eager anticipation. The opening of the state banquet had been salvaged, but Catherine knew very well that the night was still long ahead, and state receptions always demanded utmost finesse. Every word spoken, every glance exchanged, every gesture carried meaning far beyond the ancient stone walls of the palace. The king was smiling, Yet Catherine clearly remembered the fleeting furrow of his brow earlier. She knew that to maintain this positive atmosphere, she needed to do more than simply make the moment pleasant. She had to affirm that his status at the banquet and his voice on the international stage were both heard and respected. King Charles began his speech with a warm, resonant voice, speaking about the long-standing friendship between the United Kingdom and Qatar. He praised the deep cooperation between the two countries, from energy and education to healthcare, and emphasized the bond between the two royal families spanning generations. The room erupted in applause, and the king once again raised his glass in celebration. When it was the Emir's turn to speak, the room fell silent, giving him the full attention he deserved. His English was clear, though tinged with a Qatari accent, lending extra weight to every word. He expressed his deep gratitude to the British royal family for their warm hospitality, but he did not stop at mere pleasantries. The Emir spoke about fairness in the global political order, emphasizing the urgent need for peace in Gaza and highlighting the responsibility of leaders to protect families caught in the midst of conflict. The dialogue between the Emir and Catherine was one of subtlety and understanding. His voice was deep and resolute, carrying the weight of experience, never shying away from harsh truths, no matter how difficult they might be to hear. The room fell silent. A few guests shifted uncomfortably as a solemn atmosphere descended upon the grand banquet. Amid the warm golden lights and the soft clinking of glassware, his speech was like an unusual gust of frankness and strength. And there was a heaviness to his words. But Catherine, with her calm gaze and bright eyes, remained intently focused. She gave a gentle nod, showing sincere attentiveness, a small gesture that carried deep respect for the head of state. As the speech concluded, applause filled the room, steady but uneven, some out of courtesy, others genuinely moved. With her natural sensitivity, Catherine clearly sensed this. She leaned slightly toward the Emir, offering a soft smile, and spoke with heartfelt warmth. "Your words remind us all that wherever we are, every family deserves to live in safety and peace." It was not a mere polite compliment, but a genuine expression of empathy. The Emir looked momentarily surprised, then his eyes softened, reflecting a deep sense of appreciation. Catherine didn't diminish his message. Instead, she skillfully expanded it, touching everyone's hearts through the simplest and most sacred of bonds, family love. The atmosphere of the banquet gradually warmed. As the exquisite dishes were served and the soft music resumed, the tension slowly melted away. Later, in a small group gathered around the Emir, Catherine took the initiative to steer the conversation. Rather than discussing political or commercial matters, she asked him about education programs in Qatar. Her voice was gentle, but full of genuine interest. She had heard much about the massive investments in education and sports, and about the aspiration to create opportunities for the youth. This time, the Emir leaned toward her, his tone becoming more animated. He shared details about new projects, international scholarships, and training centers for young athletes. Catherine smiled, her eyes shining with admiration. The conversation had shifted from diplomatic exchange to a moment of true connection between two visions, a leader carrying faith in the future and a woman who knew how to awaken hope in others. The dinner continued in a formal atmosphere, with silver trays gliding gracefully across the room, like flowing streams of light. On the table, the exquisite porcelain set reflected the warm golden light, polished cutlery gleamed, and crystal glasses shimmered with sparkling mineral water and fine wine. Catherine gently leaned toward the Emir, signaling that she remained fully attentive. In a calm voice, she mentioned his recent visit to Oxford earlier in the week, where the Emir had met Qatari students studying science and medicine. The Emir's face gradually softened, his eyes warming. He proudly spoke about those students, young people filled with ambition and knowledge, returning to serve their homeland, most of whom were supported by government scholarships. Catherine deftly picked up the conversation, sharing that she had read about a Qatari student researching renewable energy contributing to clean technology, a field the UK is also heavily investing in. "Truly inspiring?" she said softly, her voice filled with admiration for the innovative spirit of the younger generation. The Emir let out a short but genuine laugh, instantly shifting the atmosphere at the table. The tension in the room seemed to melt away. Catherine had chosen a subtle approach, saying little but every word resonating with her counterpart's concerns. She showed respect, highlighting the values he cherished most: intellect, education, and national pride. King Charles, seated nearby, quietly observed. His eyes were filled with trust, as if acknowledging that his daughter-in-law's calm demeanor had brought about something rituals could not connection. The conversation then shifted to soccer, the king's well-known passion. When mentioning the 2022 World Cup, his voice carried clear pride. Catherine listened attentively, then deftly added with a gentle smile, she spoke of Prince George, her young son, and his budding love for soccer. He was thrilled watching the Euros, especially when England played. She said, her tone warm yet respectful. The king chuckled heartily. "So the boy only cheers for England, does he?" he teased, prompting laughter from the group. Catherine smiled in response. "Children sometimes have their own idols, Your Majesty. He also loves learning from players all over the world." That seemingly simple remark made the conversation feel closer. She was not just representing the British royal family. She was a mother, a woman who connected through sincerity. For the king, who always put family first, that moment held deep meaning. Amid the lavish rituals of a state banquet, Catherine skillfully turned the conversation into a bridge between two cultures, two hearts, with her sincerity, intelligence, and empathy. At the far end of the table, other guests continued their own conversations, their laughter mingling with the soft clink of glasses. No one could deny that the evening's centerpiece was the refined dialogue between the Princess of Wales and the King of Qatar. After their initial exchange, the king brought up trade, a topic that had long weighed on him. This time, his tone was lighter, more composed. "Let us build bridges of understanding where sincerity and intelligence connect cultures, dissolving the distances between nations. Let us speak and act for a just world where every agreement and voice is respected. Together we can spark change through meaningful conversations. Act today for a future of harmony and justice. Like and share this video to spread the message and make a difference together." Where cooperation is sometimes overshadowed by political interests, Catherine listened with a calm gaze. She didn't rush to interrupt or make promises, but allowed him to speak fully. When the king paused, she gently nodded and responded with a clear, thoughtful voice. "Your Majesty, the United Kingdom has always valued the strength of partnerships. What matters is not just the numbers, but the long-term vision. Together we look toward a future where cooperation benefits both sides." This was more than mere polite words. Her tone conveyed genuine respect. She understood his need to be heard, and she did so without overstepping her role. A delicate balance, and Catherine had mastered it perfectly. As dessert was served, the atmosphere had completely changed. Fresh fruit and pastries were artfully arranged, with the soft glow of the lights reflecting off the porcelain, creating a warm ambiance. The king, once restless now, appeared relaxed, a constant smile on his face. The guests around them loosened up as well, engaging in more open conversations. Gentle music filled the room, the sound of string instruments weaving through the air, erasing any lingering distance. Catherine leaned back slightly, her gaze gentle yet sharp, realizing the evening had transformed entirely. What could have been a tense moment had turned into a diplomatic story told through empathy and wisdom. The king's advisors also noticed the change. They exchanged glances, almost surprised. They knew their master well, a steadfast leader, rarely soft-spoken. Yet now he was comfortably laughing and talking with Catherine, no longer defensive or tense. The trade issues remained, but they took on a different shape, not complaints, but discussions wrapped in respect and goodwill. Catherine had not only shifted the king's mood, but had also skillfully softened the entire room's atmosphere. Still, she maintained her calm demeanor. She understood that in diplomacy, pride could return at any moment. But then, as the night deepened, the king suddenly silenced everyone around him. He leaned back in his chair, his eyes following Catherine amid the flickering candlelight, and gave a mysterious smile. Everyone knew that his next words would once again shift the atmosphere. Throughout most of the evening, Catherine had guided the conversation with patience and grace. Her voice was gentle, her transitions between topics smooth, making everyone feel heard without leaving anyone behind. Yet now the moment of challenge has arrived. After a long pause, the king cleared his throat and lowered his voice just enough for the room to fall silent. He spoke with a calm demeanor, but with a deep underlying concern. England always talks about cooperation appropriately and frankly. But sometimes I feel that Qatar is asked to give more than it receives. That is truly unfair. The entire banquet fell silent. The clinking of cutlery paused softly. Though his words were polite, they touched the most sensitive point, the root of the evening's earlier tension. A few attendants shifted uneasily while King Charles remained composed, his eyes watching Catherine as if entrusting her with confidence. He understood this was the moment for her to prove her true capability. Catherine leaned slightly toward the king, her eyes steady and unflinching. Her voice was deep and clear. "Your Majesty, I understand your concerns. Respect must always come from both sides. And tonight I believe your voice has been heard and valued here." Her words were gentle yet firm, carrying the strength of genuine understanding. The king looked at her for a long moment, somewhat surprised. He was not used to hearing such a straightforward yet respectful response from a royal figure. Usually, people would choose to avoid the issue or soften the topic with polite formalities. But Catherine did not shy away. She faced the matter with confidence and respect. Sensing the silence still lingering in the room, Catherine skillfully took a step further. She spoke of the long-standing relationship between the UK and Qatar, not just tied to trade figures, but to real people, cultural bonds, and trust built over time. "Your Majesty," she continued, "many Qatari families consider London their second home. The students studying at British schools, the doctors trained in British hospitals, these are not just partnerships, but trust between people." The king leaned back slightly, the tension in his eyes gradually fading. He smiled softly, his voice warmer. "Princess, you speak very honestly. It's rare that I hear such words." In that moment, the tension that had just surfaced completely dissipated. The quiet murmur of conversation around the table resumed, and the atmosphere felt relieved. Catherine didn't avoid the issue. She faced it with tact, subtlety, and sincerity. To prevent the discussion from sinking back into political heaviness, she smoothly shifted to a lighter topic. With a calm smile, she asked about the cultural projects Qatar was investing in the new museum's international art programs and efforts to expand cultural exchange. The king immediately brightened, speaking passionately about his dream to make Doha a creative hub for the region. And so, with intelligence and empathy, the evening continued. Once again, Catherine transformed a tense moment into a bridge between two worlds with words that were gentle yet more powerful than any diplomatic strategy. The king seemed to light up anew. His voice brimmed with vitality as he shared his grand vision, turning Doha into a global cultural center where art, knowledge, and creativity converge. Catherine listened attentively, her eyes shining with genuine interest. She skillfully continued the conversation, sharing stories about her own visits to art galleries with her children, peaceful afternoons spent admiring paintings and discussing the meaning of beauty together. The way she naturally connected family life with the aspirations of a leader made the conversation unusually intimate. The king chuckled a short but heartfelt laugh. "Princess, you remind me that leadership is also about being a parent." Those words struck a chord, reminding everyone that behind titles and power people are still mothers and fathers carrying kindness and concerns for future generations. Those nearby exchanged affectionate glances with a few soft smiles spreading quietly. The once tense room now brimmed with warmth and gentle laughter. It was no longer the atmosphere of politics, but one of understanding. As night gradually fell, the banquet moved into the formal ceremony. King Charles stepped forward to speak, his voice steady and solemn as usual, praising the friendship and the importance of trust between nations. Then it was the King of Qatar's turn. The entire room fell silent, everyone remembering the sharp tone he had earlier in the evening. But this time he was different. Standing tall, his voice calm and measured, he no longer spoke of injustice or demands, but of mutual respect. He praised the hospitality of the British royal family, the elegance of Buckingham Palace, and the sincere spirit everyone had shown him that night. In that quiet moment, he turned to Catherine, his eyes sincere. "I thank the princess for her kindness throughout this evening." The room erupted in warm applause. King Charles nodded softly, clearly pleased, but those attentive enough knew it was Catherine who had truly made that moment possible. Amidst the formalities and political distances, she had rekindled the bridge of dialogue through listening intelligence and a compassionate heart. As the king returned to his seat, his expression was noticeably more relaxed. The sharp words from earlier had softened into gentle admiration. The attendants, once tense, now also eased and smiled softly. Catherine showed no pride or complacency. She simply smiled politely, returning to her usual calm demeanor. But everyone in that room understood that something important had just happened. The Princess of Wales had achieved what no speech could, turning disagreement into understanding and transforming complaints into gracious praise. As the string quartet music resumed, closing the warm evening under the golden lights, Catherine kept a gentle smile on her lips. She knew the night was far from over. Behind the palace doors, another exchange awaited, one that would leave a profound mark far beyond the ancient walls of Buckingham. The banquet was nearly over. The gleaming plates had been cleared away, the music gently faded, and guests began to rise, exchanging polite farewells. Yet amid the quiet, the echo of something extraordinary remained. The King of Qatar, who had earlier cast a tense atmosphere over the room, had closed with a speech full of praise and goodwill. Still, everyone understood that it was Catherine's calm presence that truly made the evening complete. As the king prepared to leave, the light from the crystal chandeliers cast a dignified glow upon him. He paused and turned to Catherine, his eyes no longer cold or guarded, but holding a rare look of gratitude. The attendants were ready to escort him out, but he raised a hand gently, signaling them to wait. His voice was deep and sincere. "Princess, tonight you reminded me that respect cannot be forced. It must be earned through genuine sincerity. For that, I thank you." Catherine bowed her head slightly, a gentle smile gracing her lips. She said nothing, only gave a soft nod that conveyed humility and gratitude. Those nearby could clearly feel that in that moment, the king was truly moved. Then something unexpected happened. As he reached for his coat, Catherine gently placed one hand over her heart, then extended her other hand toward him. It was not a rigid diplomatic handshake, but a simple, sincere gesture full of meaning and strength. The king paused. For a few seconds he simply looked at her, then placed his own hand over his heart, in return a matching gesture that was both respectful and symbolic. The entire room fell silent. No one spoke. Only the soft clicks of cameras echoed faintly from the far end of the hall. That moment, a British royal and a Middle Eastern leader had become a powerful image of understanding and respect, transcending all differences. From a distance, King Charles witnessed it all. He smiled quietly, his eyes filled with pride and relief. He understood that moments like these in diplomacy are incredibly fragile. One wrong word, one careless gesture, and everything could collapse. But Catherine had done more than that. She not only soothed a difficult guest, but also strengthened a delicate relationship with respect and kindness without promises, without grand declarations. As the king stepped out of the hall, he turned back one last time, his voice ringing clearly through the quiet space. "Tonight, England has shown genuine friendship. May this spirit guide our relationship forward." Applause rose not loud, but deep and heartfelt. All eyes turned to Catherine, the woman who had written a new chapter in what had seemed like a mere ceremonial banquet. In that moment, diplomacy was no longer politics. It had become the art of the human heart, where humility, listening, and respect could transform the very atmosphere of the world. Even the guests who had been anxious earlier nodded in agreement as the doors closed behind the king. The air in Buckingham Palace seemed lighter than at any other point that evening. Conversation flowed warmly throughout the grand hall, filled with a newfound sense of closeness and goodwill. Many praised Catherine's role not with flowery words, but with genuine admiration. Some noticed how she listened more than she spoke. Others admired how skillfully she sought common values instead of emphasizing differences. For Catherine, these praises were not what she sought. Returning to Prince William, who was still chatting with guests, she smiled softly and quietly said, "George will want to know everything went well." That seemingly simple remark revealed her true self, a mother who places family above royal glory, someone who always knows how to balance public duty with private affection. In the days that followed, media outlets everywhere began covering the state banquet. Major newspapers published images of the heartfelt moment between Catherine and the King of Qatar, the simple hand gesture that transcended all political differences. Commentators noted that it wasn't the formal speeches or trade agreements that made the evening memorable, but the genuine human connection. In Doha, news reports echoed the same sentiment. The press there praised the Princess of Wales for her sincerity and respect toward the king, honoring his dignity, even while he stood on foreign soil. Diplomats also quickly recognized the significance of that moment's impact. A senior official from the foreign ministry was quoted saying, "Sometimes diplomacy happens in meeting rooms with documents and signatures, but sometimes it takes place in a small gesture at the dining table where sincerity replaces words, and that night was a vivid testament to this truth. As for Catherine herself, she remained characteristically silent. She did not respond to the praise, nor did she seek the spotlight. Instead, she returned to her daily work, visiting schools, participating in children's activities, and charitable organizations, bringing hope to the places where she always puts her heart. Yet everyone present at Buckingham Palace that evening knew they had witnessed a historic moment. There, a woman with a gentle smile and calm demeanor not only changed the mood of a king, but also deeply imprinted the image of England through the power of kindness and understanding. This story highlights Catherine's truly special role. She wasn't elected, nor was she a politician, yet through her compassion and genuine care, she represented her country in a way that required no power or title. While many might demonstrate strength through words, Catherine chose a different path: the power of listening and the grace of a small gesture, something that can often resonate farther than the boldest declarations. That's why that night is remembered not as a story of conflict or tension, but as a lesson in understanding and humanity between people. Guests who had entered the hall feeling uneasy left with admiration. The king, who had once voiced sharp demands, departed with respect. And Catherine, who sought no public spotlight, became the center of the evening through her humility and grace. The banquet ended under the warm golden lights of Buckingham Palace, as if that light not only illuminated the room but also reflected the inner beauty of a person who places compassion above all protocol. Thanks to a princess and a single gesture, the memory of that night has become a symbol of kindness and emotional intelligence, a testament that sometimes the smallest actions leave the deepest impressions. What about you? Do you believe that a small gesture can change the entire atmosphere of a diplomatic event, just like Princess Catherine did? If you do, leave a 1 in the comments. But if you think everything requires strategy and thorough preparation, comment 0 instead. Enjoy the video hit. Like, share, and leave a subscription to support the channel as we... Shadows swallow Heathrow Airport as a lone figure slips through the gates. No security detail, no royal fanfare. The world watches in disbelief as the realization hits: Prince Harry has returned. But why would the man who walked away from the crown arrive like a fugitive in the dead of night? While the global media ignites with speculation, the reality is far more chilling than any headline. It all traces back to a clandestine letter stamped with King Charles's private seal, a document Meghan Markle was never meant to see. Tension grips the palace walls as Camilla's fury reaches a breaking point, while Prince William has vanished without a trace. Whispers from the inner circle suggest this isn't a royal reunion, but a final stand against a ticking time bomb, a chilling secret buried for decades that is finally reaching its tipping point. Before we reveal the truth behind this royal crisis, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop your wildest theories in the comments. Let's dive into the mystery together. Some nights history isn't forged under the glowing chandeliers of grand banquets or through polished handshakes over champagne. Instead, the world is shaped in the shadows beneath the cold, relentless London rain. It's a heavy, somber London where centuries of royal secrets seem to bleed into the very stone of ancient cathedrals. Imagine a scenario so daring, so high stakes, that even the boldest Hollywood screenwriters wouldn't dare to put it on paper. A man born into the highest echelons of royalty, who once stood on the Buckingham Palace balcony before millions, now navigates airport security like a ghost. There are no trumpets, no red carpets, and not a single bodyguard to be found. With a baseball cap tugged low to mask his face and a dark hoodie draped over his frame, he moves through the crowd unnoticed. Yet those few who managed to catch a glimpse of his eyes described them as haunting, carrying the weight of a gathering storm. Is it fear or the raw determination of a man with nothing left to lose? This solitary figure hidden within the rushing crowd has ignited a firestorm across private forums and insider circles over the last 24 hours. Whispers suggest this is none other than Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. Despite his efforts to vanish, keen observers point to unmistakable signs: that signature stride, the white-knuckled grip on his backpack straps, and a glimpse of a tattoo on his wrist. Every detail points to one staggering reality: the exiled son has come home. But why this question is currently haunting millions? Why would a man who turned his back on the crown, who penned a memoir to sever every tie, and who sought a new life under the California sun, suddenly return to the very den of wolves? He once renounced, "The digital world is convinced this isn't just a casual visit." Perhaps the truth isn't found in a longing for home, but in something far more calculated. Instead, the truth is hidden within a single object of immense weight. A letter, a mysterious document sealed in crimson wax, long thought lost, the kind of seal that, according to royal legend, only emerges when a dynasty teeters on the edge of survival. If the whispers from the inner circle are true, Harry didn't come back by choice. He came back because he was summoned. Today we journey beyond the headlines to dissect the truth behind this suspicious homecoming. We're going deeper than the surface of the mainstream media. We will descend into the shadows to assemble the fractured pieces of this puzzle, decoding the whispers from the palace halls and exploring the most daring theories. In a hidden corner of history where secrets refuse to stay buried, could a haunting truth from the era of Princess Diana finally come to light? Is this a long-forgotten promise or a debt of blood that has finally come due? The question remains: is Harry returning as the savior of the crown, or the spark that will ignite the final collapse of the Windsor Empire? Ladies and gentlemen, watching that solitary figure at Heathrow Airport serves as a haunting reminder of the weight of legacy. We often find ourselves captivated by the allure of power, the glow of fame, and the immense wealth of legendary dynasties. Yet we overlook the reality that extreme privilege always carries a heavy price. In that quiet moment of isolation, Harry isn't just facing the emptiness of his own journey, he is standing in the long shadow of a crown where every movement is dissected, and every breath is burdened by expectations that never end. Being born into a world of luxury doesn't provide a shield against the storms of life. Sometimes the very name you inherit and the blood in your veins become the heaviest chains of all. Despite fleeing halfway across the globe and renouncing his titles, Harry remains tethered to the shadow of his past. This return, regardless of its purpose, is definitive proof you can leave your home, but you can never truly leave your roots, especially when those roots are defined by wounds that have never been allowed to heal. In our own lives, we often believe that silence or physical distance can erase family conflicts and deep-seated issues. But the truth is, they don't disappear. They remain in the shadows, quietly smoldering, waiting for the moment we are forced to face them. True courage isn't found in running away. It is found in the return, in the willingness to confront the ghosts of our past, even when the only thing we have left to hold on to is the pain. We often carry our wounds and mistake that burden for growth, but true strength is found in the courage to return and heal them. Are you ready to face your own past? Comment 1 if you agree, or 0 if you have a different perspective. I hope this journey has given you a little strength for your own path. Enjoy the experience and don't forget to hit subscribe and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today. It all began on a somber afternoon, a stark contrast to the sun-drenched glamour of Montecito, California, the ultimate sanctuary for the global elite. According to sources deep within the local aristocracy, neighbors noted a sudden unsettling shift in the atmosphere surrounding the Sussex estate. The usual sounds of laughter and the energy of garden parties had vanished, replaced by a heavy, suffocating silence that seemed to consume the entire grounds. It all started when a sleek, armored black sedan with deep-tinted windows pulled silently up to the main gate. This wasn't a local vehicle, nor did it carry the familiar branding of shipping giants like FedEx or UPS. A mysterious figure stepped out, not in a uniform, but in a bespoke black suit, reflecting the precision of England's legendary Savile Row. Insiders speculate that his rigid posture, piercing gaze, and calculated movements exuded the unmistakable discipline of the royal military elite. Could this be a member of the Grey Men? The legendary figures in slate-colored suits who manage the palace's most sensitive affairs? What this mysterious visitor handed directly to Meghan Markle wasn't a court summons or a social invitation. It was a thick, substantial envelope crafted from handmade vellum, the same ancient stationery the royal family has utilized for centuries. But what truly froze the air was the unmistakable seal that guarded its contents. Sharp-eyed observers and heraldry experts have pointed out that the crimson wax seal on the envelope displayed an incredibly rare emblem. This wasn't the standard royal crest. Instead, it appeared to be King Charles's personal seal, a symbol of ultimate authority reserved for only two scenarios: a national emergency threatening the very survival of the crown, or a family tragedy so deeply buried it cannot be spoken of. If these reports are accurate, a haunting question emerges: why was Meghan forbidden from opening that letter? Anonymous sources believed to be staff members within the estate have shared a chilling detail that sends a shiver through anyone who hears it. As Meghan reached for a letter opener to break the seal, Harry suddenly appeared. He didn't just enter the room. He charged in. Rumors suggest he snatched the envelope from his wife's hands in a state of sheer panic, his fingers trembling uncontrollably as he reclaimed the document. If the contents were a simple health update from an aging father or a formal invitation to a royal ceremony, would a man like Harry, a veteran of the battlefield, react with such raw intensity, or does that aged, yellowed paper reeking of history contain a final ultimatum? The digital world is now buzzing with a chilling theory. This letter, though bearing King Charles's personal emblem, may not have been written by the king's hand alone. In a parallel universe of conspiracy theories, it's whispered that King Charles, facing health challenges, shielded by the cold stone walls of London, has decided to activate a truth mechanism. Could this letter hold echoes from the past? Perhaps it contains words tied to a long-forgotten promise, a haunting secret regarding Princess Diana's final days, or an unpaid blood debt whose interest has finally come due. Harry remained silent after reading the document. No explanation followed, and there was no room for debate. According to household staff, that silence was far more terrifying than his most explosive outbursts. It was the hollow silence of a man who had just glimpsed his own death sentence or the end of something he cherished even more than life itself. In that moment, The image of the carefree father in California seemed to vanish. All that remained was Prince Harry, the royal soldier receiving his orders for one final mission. As night fell, consuming the last glimmer of Montecito, he was gone. Leaving behind his family and the safety of his sunny paradise, Harry ventured alone into the storm awaiting him across the ocean. The plane departed in total secrecy, carrying not just a man, but a letter with the potential to burn an entire dynasty to the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, this dramatic opening chapter serves as a stark reminder of the destructive power of secrets. In any relationship, whether between spouses, parents, or siblings, secrets often form the most invisible yet impenetrable barriers. We convince ourselves that hiding the truth is a way to shield those we love from suffering. Harry likely believed exactly that when he seized the letter, choosing to shoulder the burden alone rather than share it with Meghan. But in reality, silence often breeds a fear far more damaging than the cruelest truth. When you exclude your partner from the defining struggles of your life, you aren't just protecting them, you are inadvertently driving them away. Trust rarely collapses under the weight of screaming matches. Instead, it fractures in the quiet, agonizing moments of doubt. No burden is too heavy when two people carry it together, but even the smallest secret, when hidden in the dark, can grow into a boulder that crushes the strongest bond. So the question remains, is Harry's silence a heroic act of sacrifice or the first fatal error that will bring everything crashing down? Only time holds that answer. In this fragile equilibrium, how do you judge Harry's decision if you believe his silence was a noble sacrifice to shield the ones he loves? Comment 1 below. But if you see it as a critical error, a spark that could burn down the bridge of trust, be honest and type 0. Keep your eyes on this channel. Hit that like button, share this story, and make sure you're subscribed so we can uncover the next chapter together. As the mysterious Gulf Stream jet cuts through the Atlantic night carrying a solitary prince and the heavy burden of his past, the very foundations of Buckingham Palace have begun to tremble. A silent storm is gathering over the House of Windsor, invisible yet heavy with the thunder of impending crisis. If the frantic whispers echoing through the corridors of power are to be believed, Harry's return was not met with tearful reunions or open arms. Far from a warm homecoming, it was compared to tossing a lit torch into a dormant keg of gunpowder. Inside Clarence House, the private sanctuary of the King and Queen, the air was reportedly suffocating. A loyal insider, a veteran of 20 years who had never before leaked a single whisper, broke their silence to describe Queen Camilla's reaction as unprecedented. "Throw him out, do not let him through that gate," she allegedly screamed. But was this a command born of unbridled rage or a desperate cry of panic? Insiders speculate that Camilla doesn't hate Harry, she fears him. But why would a woman who has ascended to the absolute pinnacle of power-crowned queen consort tremble before a prince stripped of his titles? Perhaps she knows that the return of the prodigal son threatens to resurrect ghosts she has spent decades trying to bury. The boldest theory yet suggests a terrifying truth: Camilla knows exactly what is inside that letter. She knew that a private audience between father and son, unguarded by her watch, could shatter the unspoken agreements that paved her path to the throne. Harry is no longer just a visiting son. He is a living witness to the family's darkest chapters. Yet the most chilling detail of that night wasn't Camilla's panic. It was the inexplicable sudden disappearance of Prince William. The brother who once walked shoulder to shoulder with him behind their mother's casket has chosen to vanish just moments before the storm hits. Raising eyebrows across the UK photographers captured Prince William's Range Rover convoy slipping out of Kensington Palace under the cover of darkness. His destination, Anmer Hall, the isolated fortress of the Wales family in Norfolk. If confirmed, this isn't just a trip. It's a strategic retreat from the chaos unfolding in the capital. Under normal circumstances, with the monarch's health in critical condition, the heir to the throne would stand as the pillar of stability. Prince William should have been the first to welcome Harry, projecting an image of unshakable royal unity. Instead, he chose to withdraw. According to behavioral psychologists and body language experts, this departure isn't fueled by petty grievances or childish resentment. It is a maneuver driven by deep-seated fear and cold, strategic calculation. If we assume William is privy to the true reason for Harry's return, that he has read the letter or knows exactly what Charles is preparing to confess, his exit takes on a much darker significance. It becomes a silent yet deafening declaration to the world, "I will not be a party to this. I will keep my hands clean. I refuse to be dragged back into the dark history that is about to repeat itself." By leaving London, William is securing the ultimate political shield, plausible deniability. By physically removing himself from the equation, William secures the ultimate defense: total innocence. Should the confrontation between his father and brother spiral into a media firestorm, or worse, trigger a full-blown constitutional crisis, he remains untouchable. He has made his definitive choice to protect the sanctity of his future throne rather than shield the brother rushing headlong into the storm. William's departure leaves a gaping power vacuum at the heart of London, and in that chilling void, as the heavy palace doors finally slam shut, only two men are left standing to face one another. An aging king tormented by the weight of his conscience, or perhaps a deep-seated fear, now stands face to face with a prince whose heart is scarred by years of unspoken pain. Harry, now willing to burn every bridge to unearth the truth, confronts a destiny that has been 30 years in the making. Ladies and gentlemen, as we witness William's strategic flight and Camilla's cold fury, we are forced to confront a bitter lesson: the loneliness of power and the instinct for survival. In the world of great dynasties, where self-interest and the honor of the crown are elevated above the bonds of blood, individuals are often driven to make the most ruthless of choices. It is a world where survival doesn't just invite sacrifice, it demands it. William, as the heir, is not permitted the luxury of emotion. He must operate as an institution. And the primary instinct of any institution sensing danger is self-preservation, to isolate the threat even when that threat carries the same blood. We often condemn William's coldness, but perhaps we should consider his perspective. In a parallel universe, had he stayed to intervene, would he have been dragged down with the sinking ship of the past? William's actions remind us of a stark truth. When the storm arrives, some dive into its heart to find answers like Harry, while others build a fortress to survive like William. Neither path is entirely wrong nor entirely right. It is simply a choice, though the price is a brotherhood that may never be healed. That night, London was swallowed by fog, a thick, biting cold characteristic of England, designed to conceal everything. But inside the west wing of the palace, the nerve center where those who hold the kingdom's fate reside, the lights burned with an unusual intensity. According to leaked fragments from the night shift guards, this was no ordinary reunion. The meeting between father and son didn't unfold in a lavish sitting room filled with velvet sofas. Instead, it took place in the king's most private sanctuary, the sanctum. This is the area known as the royal family's white zone, a place where listening devices, security cameras, and roaming servants are strictly forbidden. In this space, there is seemingly no room for traditional fatherly love. Instead, the air is thick with the scent of ancient paperwork, the sharp aroma of brandy, and the stifling weight of secrets left to decay. Imagine the scene: King Charles, a man who spent 7 decades waiting for the crown, now sits deeply recessed in a worn vintage leather armchair. Opposite him is the son who walked away from that very crown to pursue the call of freedom. One represents the unyielding weight of tradition. The other, the volatile force of disruption and pain. The air between them didn't crack with polite conversation. Instead, it began with a silence so heavy it felt physical before erupting into a verbal storm. Heated arguments supposedly bled through even the soundproof barriers of the palace. "You should have told me sooner." If these words truly escaped Harry's lips, as insiders suggest, the implications are staggering. Why sooner? What truth was withheld for so long that its revelation now feels like a betrayal of time itself? Why has the king chosen this exact moment to unburden his soul? Perhaps the issue runs deeper than the king's illness. A cancer diagnosis, serious though it may be, seems unlikely to provoke such intense anger in Harry, a man already shaped by profound loss. This has led many to suspect that unseen forces are at play beyond the public narrative. Meanwhile, online speculation has surged in obscure corners of the internet. Rumors speak of a secret contingency plan allegedly prepared for life's final limits, a so-called royal dead man's switch said to exist as a last measure meant to act when silence can no longer be maintained. A startling theory emerges that Charles may have acknowledged the existence of classified records linked to the 1997 Pont de l'Alma tunnel accident documents Harry has long sensed were real, yet never had proof to confirm. It is a suspicion shaped more by intuition than evidence. In this imagined moment where secrets surface, one could picture Charles speaking carefully to his son, "I did not cause it, but I know who was responsible, and I stayed silent to protect the crown." Imagine that in a moment of weakness brought on by age, the king chose to place a dangerous truth into his son's hands, an invitation to open Pandora's box. Was it an attempt at personal redemption or a calculated hope that Harry, the so-called rebel son, might confront forces within the palace that even the monarch himself could never fully restrain? The meeting reportedly lasted just 2 hours. 2 hours to confront 3 decades of buried pain. 2 hours for a father to admit his failures and for a son to see his past and his family in an entirely new light. When the heavy oak door finally opened, Harry stepped out in silence. No one saw him cry. There were no tears at all. Yet, according to an old guard, his expression looked like that of someone who had glimpsed something deeply unsettling and returned changed. The anger was gone, replaced by a pale stillness and a calm, unsettling resolve. He moved down the long corridor, each step echoing softly behind him. Whatever he had learned was now clear. He had his answer. But the cost of that answer may have been the last remaining thread of trust Harry had in his family. We often repeat the saying, better late than never yet in relationships already fractured. Truth can arrive too late, no longer offering healing, but causing deeper damage instead. When a father conceals a secret for 30 years and reveals it only in moments of weakness, it may not be an act of bravery. It can be the final act of self-relief, transferring a lifetime of guilt onto another person and leaving the one who hears it to carry the shock alone. Harry spent his life searching for answers about his mother's death and his family's emotional distance, yet when those answers finally arrived, they did not heal him. They deepened the wound. This is why honesty matters while there is still time. Waiting until everything is broken to apologize or confess can turn truth into harm. Some truths spoken too late are no longer a source of comfort. They become something that cuts away the last fragile bonds of connection. Harry may now have the truth, but that night the image of his father was lost to him forever. Is a truth revealed too late a form of freedom, or merely a blade that cuts through what little trust remains? Harry's story stands as a painful wake-up call. If you believe we should live honestly while there is still time, leave a 1. If you feel some truths are too harsh and better left unspoken, comment 0. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help us continue uncovering the stories that exist beyond the spotlight. The doors of Balmoral may be closed, but the real storm is only beginning. Harry now carries knowledge that could either preserve a legacy or forever change how history remembers it. Will he choose silence in the name of peace, or allow long-buried truths to come to light? That choice lies ahead. What would you do if you held Princess Diana's secrets in your hands? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss what happens next. This is purely for reference purposes, only based on hypotheses and unverified rumors/public opinion. Let's discuss it from an objective, analytical perspective. Goodbye and see you soon. Setting aside the Netflix noise, a shocking hypothesis is spreading about events at the Supreme Court. Unverified sources claim that truth hunter Tom Bower has just hinted at a top-secret DNA file called Operation Cuckoo, allegedly involving Trevor Engelson. Is there a hidden mystery behind what is said to be Harry and Meghan's highly dramatic reaction in the courtroom? Is an all-out battle about to erupt? Or is this merely the beginning of a far more complex truth than we have ever known? Amid the ancient walls of Buckingham Palace, a shocking hypothesis is quietly spreading. Could there be a genetic secret hidden behind the royal family's silence? Some unverified sources are raising questions about a top-secret file that could completely alter the line of succession. Is this a strategy to protect the throne, or merely fragments of a power game we have never seen before? If this truth were to be revealed, would royal history have to be rewritten from the very beginning? Within elite power circles, whispers persist that whenever Tom Bower appears, the deepest secrets are at risk of being exposed. This time, the hypothesis no longer revolves around financial conglomerates, but points straight to the heart of the British royal bloodline. Could the troubled look in Harry's eyes, set against his dark suit, be a sign of an approaching storm? Some sources suggest that the pieces Bower is said to be holding are powerful enough to shake the solid walls of the Sussex family. Is this a truth slowly coming to light, or merely a strategic move in a power game we have yet to decipher? Is there a psychological shadow looming over Harry, or is it simply confusion in the face of unpredictable developments? Many keen observers have noticed that his gaze no longer carries the familiar defiance toward the media, but instead seems to drift into an undefined void. Beside him, Meghan maintains the composed poise of a movie star. But could those tightly clenched whitening hands be betraying that confidence? As Tom Bower's voice rings out, the atmosphere seems to thicken like the stillness before a major storm. Is this the moment when the truth is laid bare, or merely another chapter in an endless game of Power J? Setting aside the familiar tabloid disputes over bridesmaid dresses or sisterly riffs, this time Tom Bower has crossed a line that few dare to approach. Why has the name Trevor Engelson suddenly surfaced alongside the unsettling phrase genetic crosscheck? A chilling atmosphere blankets the courtroom as if time itself has frozen before an unresolved truth. Is this the decisive piece in a much larger power game, or merely a shocking hypothesis meant to shake the very foundations of the monarchy? The answer perhaps still lies in the shadows. The line between rumor and testimony of real consequence seems to be gradually fading. In the suffocating silence of the courtroom, shock is clearly visible on the faces of seasoned royal lawyers. Could we be witnessing the moment when all of Harry's sacrifices, from titles to family ties, are put to a brutal test? The image of a man who once poured everything he had into protecting his young family, now standing before a hypothesis that could overturn everything, forces anyone to ask, what is the ultimate truth behind the curtains? In that moment, Harry's gaze seemed adrift amid the speculation, as if he were trying to piece together scattered fragments of memory into a reality never before known. Could that confusion be the very starting point of a turbulent new chapter? As for Meghan, her silence carried a weight that was hard to define. Instead of the decisiveness so often seen before the cameras, what remained was a fragile, deeply suggestive psychological state. Could this moment of stillness mean more than any grand declaration? The questions remain unanswered, leaving a space filled with curiosity for all those following this story. The sudden departure of a familiar figure, to the astonishment of security personnel, created a haunting pause in the courtroom. The sharp thud of the wooden door closing seemed to signal the cracking of an image once likened to a modern-day Cinderella. The biggest question now is why a seasoned writer like Tom Bower chose this sensitive moment to raise such explosive suspicions. Is he holding evidence capable of shaking traditional values to their core? Or is this merely a bold move in a power game of which we have only glimpsed the tip of the iceberg? Behind the velvet curtain of the monarchy lie questions that could redefine history itself. Could the truth surrounding Archie's birth be the fuse for an unprecedented royal crisis? Today, we move beyond the headlines to delve into the darker corners of this courtroom drama. Together, we will examine the hypotheses, the secrets, and even the silent betrayals the world was never meant to know. Brace yourself, because what is about to be revealed may completely change the way you view the Sussex family forever. A hypothesis is sending public opinion into a frenzy. Could what unfolded at the Supreme Court be the beginning of a shocking truth? When Tom Bower mentioned a top-secret file codenamed Operation Cuckoo, the atmosphere seemed to thicken instantly. Is a long-concealed genetic secret gradually being unraveled, raising serious questions about the line of succession? Harry's dazed expression and Meghan's sudden departure appear to be telling pieces in this opaque power game. Is the monarchy facing a storm it cannot escape, and does the palace's silence signal careful preparation or the first signs of collapse? Within Britain's investigative journalism circles, the name Tom Bower has become something of an obsession for anyone hoping to conceal the truth behind a glossy facade. Many theories suggest that his power does not stem from wild speculation, but from the authority of a former lawyer and seasoned journalist who once worked at the BBC. Could his relentless pursuit of truth be what drives him to confront the highest levels of power? If what is being said is true, he is someone willing to peel back secrets the world once promised would remain hidden forever. Does his very presence signal the potential collapse of icons long considered untouchable? From billionaires to powerful politicians, Tom Bower has seemingly never backed down from anyone. Many wonder whether the long list of his adversaries is proof of a steely principle: never act without evidence. Following the success of Revenge, public attention has once again been stirred by new developments in London in January 2026. Could Bower's calm demeanor under intense questioning be a sign of an unpublished trove of documents? If these hypotheses are accurate, could they be powerful enough to shake every prior belief about the Sussex family? Is there a truth hiding behind those dry numbers and timelines? Instead of vague speculation, Tom Bower put on screen a diagram shrouded in mystery, what insiders call a timeline map of Meghan's life from 2013 to 2018. There's a theory that this is in fact a dossier of overlap, where even the smallest details begin to connect. Why is the year 2013, the moment of her breakup with Trevor Engelson, examined so intensely? Could it be the most crucial link in the picture we are trying to decode together? Is the image of an independent woman so consistently promoted by the House of Sussex facing a harsh test? Many theories suggest that the links to the past were never truly severed. Rather than a clean new beginning, Tom Bower presents data involving hotel records and verified phone calls hinting at a quiet, ongoing connection with Trevor Engelson. Is this merely an incidental detail that was overlooked or a part of a much larger strategy of concealment? As the evidence comes to light, can this carefully crafted image remain intact? The answer may well lie deep within the files Bower holds. F. Could Harry's silence be concealing a sophisticated information strategy we've yet to recognize? One theory stirring debate points to puzzling gaps in Meghan's schedule in Toronto in 2016. Why do these periods align so strangely with Trevor Engelson's undisclosed travels? Is this merely an innocent coincidence or a secret being carefully kept? These gaps are now challenging the public's faith in the narrative of a perfect love story. In investigative journalism circles, Tom Bower is not merely an author. He is often likened to an obsession haunting secrets that are trying to stay hidden. Many ask whether the rigor of a former lawyer and veteran BBC journalist is the key that enables him to decode such uncomfortable truths. Rather than indulging in fanciful speculation, does he possess a distinct method for confronting powerful interests? And could it be that his mission is to bring what has long been buried into the light, breaking through entrenched barriers of power? What made the atmosphere in the courtroom grow heavy when Tom Bower mentioned the mysterious gatekeepers? Could it be that behind the velvet curtains of Kensington Palace, loyal aides quietly observed everything for over a decade? Some theories suggest that loyalty to the crown was once the greatest barrier, but have the upheavals surrounding the House of Sussex prompted them to break their silence? If these revelations are true, could this mark the beginning of the collapse of a long-standing wall of secrecy? The truth seems to be finding its way into the light. Can logic shed light on the hidden corners that emotion often overlooks? A weighty hypothesis is now being raised about the dense fog surrounding Archie's birth. Why was a centuries-old tradition broken when prominent doctors declined to sign the birth certificate? More notably, the amendments made to the certificate just months later have sparked major questions. Is this merely an administrative procedure, or the trace of a deeply guarded secret the monarchy is trying to protect? Is Harry truly the master of his own destiny, or merely a piece on a board in a play orchestrated with remarkable finesse? A provocative hypothesis is circulating that vows of love may have obscured deeper truths about lineage and legacy. Some sources claim that Tom Bower holds internal reports from security services documents long kept confidential regarding Meghan's past. Could this be the key to understanding a prince's vulnerability? And if these secrets were to come into the open, would history itself need to be rewritten? Could it be that behind the splendor of the royal wedding lay red flags, warning of ghosts from the past? Some sources suggest that security reports noted unwanted connections emerging just days before the momentous event. Tom Bower's weight does not come from noise or spectacle, but from the calm confidence of someone who believes he holds the key to the truth. To him, the truth belongs to no one. It simply exists and must be brought into the light from the darkest vaults. Could this be the moment when every veil of mystery is finally forced to fall? London seemed to awaken all at once, realizing this was no longer a family dispute, but a dramatic historical reckoning. Does Tom Bower truly hold the key to flinging open Pandora's box that the royal family has long tried to bury? The most buzzworthy question now is the re-emergence of Trevor Engelson. What could a Hollywood producer possibly have to do with the future of the throne? And could the way Bower dissects Meghan's portrait be the very answer to the mysteries we are trying to unravel? Is Meghan truly a victim of the media, or is she a skilled strategist with meticulously laid plans? One theory suggests that Trevor Engelson may be the one who holds the key to unlocking her true past. Having been by her side for an entire decade from obscurity to stardom, Trevor likely understood her habits and deepest ambitions better than anyone. Could it be that Harry in his infatuation is seeing only a carefully constructed image, while Trevor possesses the original blueprint? Are the truths behind these hidden corners slowly coming into view? The hidden corners of Meghan and Trevor's relationship still seem to be an unresolved and challenging mystery. Have we only brushed the surface of a story far more complex than it appears? Many theories are now raising questions about details that have yet to come to light, hinting at a past that may not be as straightforward as tradition has long portrayed. If these speculations truly carry the weight of truth, would your perspective change? Leave a 2 if you agree, or a 5 if you're not convinced yet. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue unraveling these secrets together in the next episodes. Tom Bower raises a chilling question. Would a strategic woman like Meghan truly let go of her old lifeline before being certain she was firmly established on a new island? A controversial hypothesis has surfaced in court regarding unusual communications. Some sources claim that while romantic kisses with Harry captivated the public behind the scenes, Meghan was allegedly still maintaining a mysterious line of connection with Trevor. Is this mere coincidence or part of a carefully calculated backup plan? The truth may still be waiting to be fully decoded. Could anonymous communication channels and secure apps have been tools Meghan used to build herself a safe exit strategy? A theory stirring controversy suggests she quietly maintained ties to her old world even as she was moving closer to the throne. Yet the core of Tom Bower's testimony lies in a genealogical timeline, a ruthless but highly logical argument. Why was the wedding pushed forward with such unusual haste? Could that urgency have been a way to conceal a truth about timing that the public was never meant to know? Why was a wedding rushed forward when pressure from the palace had not yet truly materialized? The answer Tom Bower offers seems stark and unforgiving, a biological discovery in late 2018. Could the urgency have been driven by a matter of fate? Meghan was forced to confront one theory, suggests that if a pregnancy occurred while relationships were still overlapping, everything would have become dangerously difficult to control. Could this be the real reason the monarchy was shaken? On one side stands Trevor, the ghost of the past, stripped of status and influence. On the other, Harry, the ticket that carried Meghan to the pinnacle of power. Was this choice guided by the call of the heart, or simply by a cold, calculated ranking of power? A shock-inducing hypothesis has emerged. This is not merely a love story, but a blow aimed at the act of succession itself. If Tom Bower's revelations are accurate, the legitimacy of the royal bloodline could face unprecedented questions. Is the monarchy confronting a seismic upheaval capable of reshaping modern history entirely? Are we witnessing an unprecedented case of constitutional fraud in history? The hypothesis that Archie carries Trevor Engelson's bloodline is not merely a personal scandal, but a severe blow to the very foundations of the monarchy. If this were true, a place in the line of succession would become a profound affront to British law. Tom Bower describes this as a painful psychological dissection, offering a different lens through which to view Megxit. Could it be that the departure in 2020 was not about privacy at all, but a flight before a secret could be exposed? Was Megxit really a calculated escape designed to get Archie away from the control of the royal medical team? Many theories suggest that the departure was meant to avoid strict DNA testing as the child began to show unusual traits. If this were true, Harry would have accepted humiliating his family and shattering his late grandmother's heart simply to protect a haunting family secret. Did he, in the end, trade away his entire life for a drama he no longer has any control over? Could it be that Harry is unknowingly becoming a shield for a genetic lie he himself is unaware of? Tom Bower's final question left the entire courtroom sinking into a bitter silence. Why was it that the moment doubts about Archie's parentage began to leak out, Meghan was determined at all costs to move to California? Is it possible that U.S. privacy laws are precisely the strongest fortress for concealing every suspicion, turning the country into the perfect safe haven for a plan calculated well in advance? The ghost from the past, known as Trevor Engelson, is resurfacing, threatening to tear apart the already fragile future of the House of Sussex. Many people mistakenly believe that Buckingham Palace is always passive in the face of scandals, but the reality may be far more ruthless. Under the late Queen Elizabeth II, the purity of bloodlines was an inviolable principle meant to safeguard the sanctity of the crown. Could this strictness be the very shield essential to the survival of the throne? And if the hypotheses surrounding lineage have any basis, is the monarchy preparing for a historic purge to protect royal authority? Is Buckingham Palace really as naive as it appears? A shocking hypothesis has just been put forward by Tom Bower the moment Archie was born at the Portland Hospital. A secret genetic screening process was quietly set in motion behind thick stone walls. Was the label of routine health checks merely a cover for a vital mission to protect the legitimacy of the royal bloodline? If these revelations are accurate, the monarchy may have been preparing early on for a confrontation the House of Sussex never saw coming. If a fateful test result truly exists, where is it being kept now? One mysterious theory suggests it has never seen the light of day, but instead has been sealed inside a special safe deep beneath the palace wine cellar. Why did the monarchy choose silence rather than disclosure back in 2019? Could it be that revealing such a shocking truth at that time would have triggered an irreparable constitutional crisis? And is this silence even now a strategic move to protect the crown's last remaining stability? Imagine the collapse of an empire beginning with its deepest internal fractures. Have King Charles and Prince William ever been forced to confront a brutal choice between truth and the survival of the monarchy? At a time when Prince Andrew's scandal is already shaking royal credibility, the exposure of a bloodline fraud could be the fatal blow. Is silence the price paid to protect the monarchy from total collapse? If Tom Bower's assessments are correct, we may be witnessing a high-stakes political game in which truth is secondary to power and survival. Q. The palace's silence, rather than serving as a protective shield, inadvertently nurtured a formidable media force. This choice handed Meghan a virtual get-out-of-jail-free card to launch bold media campaigns. She clearly understood that the monarchy would never dare expose the truth for fear of scandal, thereby clearing the way for direct assaults through explosive interviews. Could it be that compassion and institutional conservatism turned into a perfect trap, one in which the palace was forced to remain silent and endure blows from the very person it sought to protect? Is Harry the most pitiable victim in this royal drama? A heartbreaking hypothesis suggests that he may be trapped inside a glass cage of lies. While Harry continually confronts his own family to protect his loved one, he may be completely unaware of a concealed hereditary secret. Could it be that this man is fighting a battle in which he himself is the one most painfully betrayed? And if this truth were to be exposed, would Harry be able to recover from the collapse of absolute trust? Harry may have placed his full faith in a happy narrative, but is he merely a pawn in a sophisticated, power-grabbing scheme? Suspicions surrounding DNA records are not just accusations. They are warning signals of what may lie hidden behind the glittering rituals of the royal family. If Archie were truly not of Windsor blood, his presence in the line of succession would become a legally and historically explosive issue. Are we standing on the brink of a truth capable of shaking the very foundations of the monarchy? As the truth gradually comes to light in 2026, we are forced to recognize the price of silence the monarchy has paid for so many years. That debt may now become a seismic shock capable of shaking even the most solid foundations. In the world of diplomacy, silence is often golden, but as the bloodline bomb detonates, the quiet from Montecito feels more like an unspoken admission. Is this the final defensive strategy, or a sign of a far deeper secret we have yet to reach? Why has Meghan Markle, someone who has previously fought fiercely in court to protect her privacy, remained silent in the face of allegations that could devastate her reputation? A major question arises: why was no defamation lawsuit filed immediately? The Sussex office is usually highly responsive, yet this time it has allowed suspicions involving Trevor Engelson and DNA to linger for weeks. Is this a deliberate silence or a sign of a truth that is difficult to deny? When silence becomes a weapon, is it protecting or exposing the deepest secrets? The answer may ultimately transform how we view the monarchy altogether. A public DNA test, conducted under the supervision of independent authorities, should have been the decisive shot to extinguish all doubts instantly. Tom Bower is gambling his reputation and career, so why not prove him wrong with transparent scientific data? Instead of confrontation, a retreat into the shadows has created a massive question mark. Is it because they cannot produce evidence, since the truth does not stand on their side? When science is rejected, suspicion becomes a haunting specter that will continue to shadow the monarchy. Is Harry the most pitiable victim in this royal drama? A heartbreaking hypothesis suggests that he is being confined in a glass cage of lies in California. While Harry continuously confronts his family to protect his loved ones, he may be completely unaware of a concealed hereditary secret. Has this man traded away his title and deep familial bonds merely to defend an illusion? If the truth about Archie and Trevor Engelson is exposed in 2026, would Harry be able to recover from the collapse of absolute trust? A tragedy awaits its final curtain. If this is true, then if Archie doesn't have Windsor blood, he might not only lose his title as prince or his seventh in line to the throne, but possibly his entire worldview. That would be a deprivation of identity that no child deserves. And assuming this is true for Harry, there might be no way back to the royal family because he, in his blind faith, seems to have unknowingly become part of a constitutional fraud. Tom Bower has ignited a battle in which there can be no absolute winner. A shocking hypothesis is gaining traction. If genetic documents were made public, the UK Parliament could be forced to intervene in a constitutional crisis of national magnitude. In the game of royal power, the truth may be hidden behind fortified wine cellars or shielded by US privacy laws, but it always finds a crack through which to leak. Could an irreversible wave be approaching, one that challenges the legitimacy of the throne and the entire system of royal authority? Who holds the final card in this historic confrontation? Is it Tom Bower, armed with secret files from the shadows, or Buckingham Palace determined to protect the crown at all costs? The courtroom proceedings in London may be on pause, but their aftershocks are set to reverberate through the British monarchy for decades to come. Will the truth step into the light, or remain forever buried beneath layers of power and intricate schemes? This question will continue to haunt the public, and perhaps only time itself can decipher this fateful game of cards. This information is for reference only based on unverified hypotheses and rumors/public opinions. Let's discuss this issue from an objective analytical perspective. Join me in examining and analyzing it from an objective point of view. Don't stand aside. Leave a 1 if you're curious or a 0 if you're still skeptical. Like and subscribe now to join me in uncovering layers of mystery and finding the truth behind the rumors. For years, rumors have swirled that Meghan Markle's relationship with her mother, Doria Ragland, is far from harmonious. In recent public appearances, Doria seemed reluctant and visibly uncomfortable being pushed into the spotlight by her daughter, the woman once dubbed the fake Duchess. It's a clear sign of the growing distance between them. The tension reached its peak when Meghan revealed a shocking confession from her own mother, changing the way the world saw her entirely. If you've ever wondered about the truth behind their complicated bond, leave a 1 in the comments and take another look at Meghan Markle's wedding photos this time. Look closely because every glance might hold a story of its own. We've known for a long time that Meghan Markle's relationship with her mother Doria Ragland hasn't been exactly smooth. In several recent public appearances, Doria appeared visibly uneasy, as if being pressured by her daughter, the so-called fake Duchess, to show up. What does that say about their relationship today? I'd say it's probably not in a good place. Since then, many events have unfolded, making the tension between mother and daughter increasingly evident. One striking moment came when Meghan accidentally revealed to the world that her mother Doria Ragland had made a shocking confession, one that completely changed everything we thought we knew about Meghan. Take a moment to revisit Meghan Markle's wedding photos. Don't just scroll past them, but look closely, because every frame might reveal more than meets the eye. One photo from the Windsor Castle wedding, attended by 600 guests, stands out immediately. Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, sat completely alone. No, this wasn't by chance, it was deliberate, and it tells a story most people have overlooked. Meghan didn't achieve this level of success on her own. It came through marrying a wealthy, powerful, and influential man, Prince Harry, which granted her entry into the world's most famous royal family. Picture the scene: the entire royal family seated on one side, mingling with Hollywood stars, while a single woman, Doria Ragland, quietly represented Meghan's family. Doria wasn't just a guest. She was the only member of the bride's family in attendance. It was an emotional, deeply symbolic moment, one that said everything without words. But soon after reports surfaced that Doria attended a Beyoncé concert without Meghan, and without even telling her. It was a small act that spoke volumes, revealing the growing tension between mother and daughter. Now let's talk about Thomas Markle, the man who was supposed to walk Meghan down the aisle, but ended up causing one of the biggest pre-wedding scandals of the decade. Just 5 days before the ceremony, the world watched paparazzi photos showing Thomas preparing for the big day, reading newspapers about the royal wedding, trying on his tuxedo, and strolling around as if rehearsing for a Hollywood movie. But the shocking truth soon came out. Those images weren't spontaneous at all. They were staged, reportedly linked to a $100,000 payment and a carefully planned media scheme. Can you imagine it? The palace had planned every detail of the royal wedding with precision, and then this storm hit out of nowhere. The British press had a field day. Every major paper ran headlines questioning Thomas's motives, throwing the entire ceremony into chaos. The palace was forced to act quickly. Seating arrangements, roles, timing, everything had to be reconsidered. And who stepped in to save the day? Prince Charles, calm, composed, and masterful, took Thomas's place at the last moment, walking Meghan down the aisle in what became a true royal rescue mission. If you agree that Prince Charles's gesture was a noble and heartfelt act, leave a 2 in the comments. But if you believe it was simply a clever political move by the royal family, comment 5 and share your thoughts. The drama didn't stop with Thomas. Meghan's half-siblings, Samantha Markle and Thomas Jr., added even more fuel to the fire. Samantha, outspoken and unapologetic despite her struggles with multiple sclerosis, gave countless interviews claiming that fame had changed Meghan and that the royal spotlight had driven her away from her family. It all began to feel less like real life and more like a reality show playing out on live television. Thomas Jr. took things even further when he wrote an open letter directly to Prince Harry, questioning whether Harry truly understood Meghan's family drama and warning him about the trouble that could unfold at the wedding. Imagine being Prince Harry reading that letter. It must have been infuriating. These public statements were no small matter. They forced the palace to address issues that were normally handled behind closed doors. For decades, royal weddings had been known for their flawless planning precision and carefully managed image. But suddenly, Meghan's family drama became international news, front-page headlines, viral debates on social media, and every word analyzed under a microscope. Amid all the turmoil, reports emerged that the tension between Meghan and her mother had reached a breaking point. Doria Ragland allegedly declared she'd had enough and decided to leave Meghan and Harry's Montecito mansion for good. According to Radar Online, Doria felt used by Meghan, especially when it came to caring for her two children, Archie and Lilibet. Sources claimed Meghan even pleaded with her mother, saying, "Don't leave me," as Doria packed her bags and walked away, leaving Meghan and Harry feeling abandoned. The 68-year-old yoga instructor had moved into the Sussexes' sprawling California estate in 2024 to help them through a difficult period, but now she reportedly longs to return to her own life and social circle in Los Angeles. Back on the wedding day at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle with 600 guests, including royals, celebrities, and dignitaries, Doria Ragland sat quietly alone on the bride's side. While cameras captured every dazzling detail, it was Doria's calm presence that told the real story. She wasn't just attending, she was carrying the weight of Meghan's entire family on her shoulders, representing decades of a mother's love, guidance, and unwavering support. It was a quiet kind of strength, one that never sought attention, yet effortlessly commanded it. Doria remained calm amid the storm stirred up by her ex-husband Thomas Markle and Meghan's half-siblings. She became the emotional anchor, the only person capable of keeping the family grounded in the chaos. Meghan chose her mother as the sole representative of her family, avoiding the extended family drama and awkward seating arrangements, just one woman who had always been her source of strength through every trial. Although their mother-daughter bond was once very close, especially during the period when Doria lived with Meghan's family to offer support, her departure in July 2025 revealed clear signs of strain. Meghan still posted a birthday tribute to her mother on Instagram in September 2025, showing that they remained in contact, yet sources suggest Doria had grown weary of her daughter's constant drama. This may point to a more complex family dynamic, particularly as Meghan and Harry continue to face public and personal challenges, from losing major deals to enduring relentless media pressure. Harry has also seen Doria as a mother figure, a source of emotional strength and comfort. This was clearly reflected in Meghan's decision on her wedding day. While most royal weddings focus on filling seats, creating picture-perfect moments for the cameras, and pleasing distant relatives, Meghan chose a different path. She made her mother, Doria Ragland, the sole representative of her family. There was no extended family drama, no awkward seating arrangements, just one woman who had been her steadfast support through every challenge. Doria was not just present, she was a symbol of loyalty and resilience. A source once said, "Doria is content with how the family is moving forward. She's ready to focus on her own life." Yet her presence alone was a quiet but powerful statement. It showed that family isn't about numbers, it's about presence, trust, and love. Doria embodied all of that. Sitting silently in St. George's Chapel, she conveyed a message stronger than any speech or toast could ever express. The palace clearly understood Doria's importance. They assigned staff specifically to ensure her comfort, guiding her through each step of the ceremony and making sure she was fully supported. Every detail from her seat placement to the timing was handled with precision and care. This wasn't just about logistics. It was a gesture of respect for the woman who had raised the bride. That respect was evident in every camera angle. The image of Doria sitting calmly on her own, carrying the weight of the family with quiet dignity, spoke volumes about Meghan's values more than any wedding gown, tiara, or bouquet ever could. However, tensions began to surface when Doria decided to move out of Meghan and Harry's Montecito mansion. According to one insider, she had grown tired of Meghan's constant complaints and drama and felt she was being used to care for her grandchildren Archie and Lilibet. It's hard to blame her at 68. The yoga instructor wanted to return to her own independent life and social circle in Los Angeles. She planned to visit often, but no longer live with them full-time. Meghan reportedly pleaded with her mother, saying, "Don't leave me," and both she and Harry were said to have felt abandoned by Doria's departure. Doria had long been fiercely loyal to Meghan, even appearing in the couple's Netflix documentary as part of her daughter's story. However, she reportedly grew weary of Meghan's treatment of others and the constant stream of drama surrounding her. Known for her calm and grounded nature, Doria no longer wanted to endure the emotional toll. Some sources suggest that she once quietly encouraged Meghan to use the narrative of racism as a way to counter the media's criticism, but now she prefers to distance herself from the chaos entirely. Fast forward a few years, Meghan's journey to explore her ancestral roots drew widespread attention. A DNA test revealed she was 43% Nigerian, instantly sparking debate across social media. Fans, critics, and experts alike joined in discussions about race identity and public perception. Doria also contributed to the conversation when she commented on Meghan's heritage during an appearance on The Daily Show. What should have been a deeply personal moment to celebrate identity instead became a topic of public speculation. People began to question whether Meghan truly understood her DNA results and whether the database itself was accurate. What started as a family history exploration quickly turned into public drama. This journey was never just about science, it was deeply personal, tied to Meghan's sense of identity, belonging, and connection. Yet under the glare of public scrutiny, every word and gesture was magnified. It became the story of a woman trying to navigate the intersection of fame, family, and cultural expectation. Meghan and Harry's wedding became a masterclass in managing modern media chaos. In the age of social networks, a single tweet, an Instagram story, or a YouTube clip can send a narrative spiraling beyond the palace's control. Unlike royal weddings of the past, where press releases shaped the story, Meghan's family drama spread instantly and uncontrollably. Palace staff were forced to respond in real time, constantly adjusting statements and addressing waves of speculation as the story evolved. They learned that the old approach, quietly smoothing things over and hoping nothing leaked, was no longer effective. Modern family dynamics demanded strategy, foresight, and realism. The palace began thoroughly vetting family situations before major events, anticipating social media reactions and managing expectations with a careful balance between tradition and modern reality. The unforgettable image of Doria Ragland sitting alone at St. George's Chapel may have appeared lonely at first glance, but on closer look it symbolized loyalty, resilience, and the true meaning of family. Doria wasn't just attending, she was Meghan's emotional anchor amid the storm of media and family turmoil. She represented Meghan's past, her struggles, and the enduring support system that shaped her strength and identity. Meghan's wedding reminded the world that even the most glamorous events are layered with complex human realities. Cultural tensions, media scrutiny, family drama, and personal identity all collided in a single historic moment. Through it all, Doria Ragland, with her calm presence and unwavering loyalty, became the quiet center of the story, proving that sometimes standing gracefully outside the chaos is the strongest position of all. Harry also saw Doria as a second mother, and this was where Meghan's priorities truly shone. While most weddings focus on filling seats, looking perfect for the cameras, and pleasing distant relatives, Meghan chose a different path. She made her mother, Doria Ragland, the sole representative of her family. There was no extended family drama, no awkward seating charts, just one woman who had always been her pillar of strength through every hardship, from career struggles and family turmoil to the relentless scrutiny of the public eye. A source revealed Doria is content with how the family is progressing. She's ready to focus on her own life. Yet her presence itself was a quiet but powerful statement. It showed that family isn't about numbers, it's about presence, trust, and love. Doria embodied all of that. Sitting silently, she sent a message stronger than any speech or blessing. She plans to visit often but no longer live with them full-time. An insider said that Meghan and Harry feel completely lost, and Meghan must be wondering if something isn't quite right. The palace clearly recognized Doria's importance. They assigned staff specifically to ensure her comfort, guiding her through every step of the ceremony and making sure she was fully supported. Every detail, from her seating to the timing, was handled with care. But the truth is, she had grown weary of Meghan's constant complaints and ongoing drama, and so she had to leave. Can anyone really blame her? Honestly, could you? This wasn't just about logistics. It was about respect for the woman who raised the bride. That respect was visible in every camera shot. The image of Doria sitting calmly on her own, carrying the weight of the family with quiet dignity, spoke more about Meghan's values than any wedding dress, tiara, or bouquet ever could. Doria has always been fiercely loyal to Meghan. For a time, she even drank the Kool-Aid, becoming part of the narrative used in Meghan and Harry's Netflix documentary. Yet by choosing to prioritize her mother over appearances or royal expectations, Meghan showed the world that true family loyalty outweighs ceremonial perfection. And honestly, that choice has shaped how the public perceives her family and her life ever since. Doria has witnessed her daughter being exposed for lies, for how Meghan uses people and treats those around her. As a calm, yoga-loving woman, she has simply decided she doesn't want to endure it any longer. Meghan's ancestral roots sparked major attention when a DNA test revealed she was 43% Nigerian, a revelation that immediately ignited controversy across social media. Fans, critics, and experts alike jumped into heated debates about race identity and public perception. Doria added to the conversation when she commented on Meghan's heritage during The Daily Show. What should have been a deeply personal moment quickly turned into public speculation. People began questioning whether Meghan truly understood her DNA results, and even whether the databases themselves were accurate. In an instant, family history turned into public drama. This wasn't just a scientific matter, it was deeply personal, tied to identity, belonging, and connection. But under the relentless gaze of public scrutiny, every word and gesture became magnified. It evolved into a story about a woman navigating fame, family, and cultural expectations. Some observers argued that Doria may have unintentionally enabled Meghan's questionable behavior, especially her use of the racial narrative as a shield against media criticism. Meghan's family continues to serve as the backdrop for ongoing drama. The constant remarks from her half-siblings, Thomas Markle's past controversies, and Doria's steady presence all remind the world that Meghan's life is far from a perfect fairy tale. It's complicated, messy, and under constant scrutiny. Meghan has faced criticism for allegedly leaving much of the child care to her mother. And when Doria chose to take time for herself, like attending a concert, Meghan reportedly felt betrayed. The The cultural clash between Meghan's open, outspoken American family and the British royal family's reserved, traditional ways created fireworks. Thomas Jr.'s open letters, Samantha's interviews, and Thomas Sr.'s staged photos all collided with the monarchy's expectations of privacy and dignity. The palace found itself managing not just a royal wedding, but a full-scale family drama playing out in public view. Royal staff had to handle more than protocol and tradition. They were managing a global audience armed with smartphones, cameras, and opinions ready to explode at any moment. Meghan has been accused of neglecting her children and leaving everything to her mother. But when Doria wanted to live her own life, Meghan reportedly couldn't accept it. The cultural divide didn't just affect wedding logistics, it shaped public perception. People watched the drama unfold in real time, comparing Meghan's background